So this is topic 2, which is related to atoms, element, compounds, and the bonding as well, like different types of bonding. Uh, the part of a definition of a relative atomic mass is the average mass of naturally occurring atom of an element. Some relative atomic masses are not in a whole number. The element Y has two types of atoms, which we call them as an isotope, 69 and 71. The ratio of the atom present in element Y is shown like 3:2. Like if you have 5 parts, out of 5 parts, 3 parts of 69 and 2 parts are there for 71. What is the relative atomic mass of Y to one decimal place? Sometimes they give us a percentage, sometimes they give the fraction. So how to work out? So if the percentage was given, it's a percentage of isotope multiplied by mass plus percentage multiplied by mass divided by 100. But if the fraction is given, so the mass of isotope multiplied by its fraction. So mass of the isotope multiplied by its fraction, because 69 is three units, plus the mass of isotope multiplied by a fraction, that is 2 units, divided by the total. How many fractions are there? Like the sum of the fraction, that is 5. So 69 into 3 plus 71 into 2 divided by 5. And we have to write our answer in one decimal place. So it is giving 69.8. Is it clear how to work out the average mass of the two isotopes? They can give you the percentage as well in exam. You may have a percentage. So if percentage was there, like example, Y was 69 and it is say 30%, and Y71 was example 70%. In that case, it will be 69 into 30 plus 71 into 70 divided by 100. So when percentage is given, you divide it by 100, the total sum. But here fractions are given, proportions are given. So how to do 69 into 3 plus 71 into 2 and divided by the sum of the fraction, the total fraction is 5. You can convert first into percentage, but why to convert into percentage? Just directly use the fractions. Otherwise, if you convert into percentage and then substitute in formula, you will get the same answer. It won't make difference. Because 3:2 means like 60% is to 40%. That's the ratio. Identify element Y. So 69.8 for this, you have to identify this element Y. So ratio of the atoms of the present, how to work out the element Y from its mass. So you have to use a periodic table. Here's a periodic table. Which element? So when you check the element Y is there, that is gallium. Why gallium? Because when you check this periodic table, 69.8, so 69.8 means like, because all of them are written as a whole number. So as you have to use a periodic table, you will use the lanthanoids, because so 69.8. Yeah, 69.8 is there, which is approximately 70. So After the lanthanoid series, you will find this gallium is there, like above the lanthanoid series. Yeah, because why we rounded off as in the question, the periodic table, except for when you check the periodic table, for a chlorine, it is written 30. Rarely you will find a decimal here. Chlorine is there 35.5, but rest of the all of them are the whole numbers. And some of the masses are not given. Why the masses are not given for these elements? Because they are not stable. They instantly or a short duration decompose. So we are not able to work out their mass. That's why their masses are not given. Element Z is in period 3 and group 5. Period 3 and group 5. So we are looking for an element which belongs to period 3 and belongs to group 5. So period 1 is having only two elements, which is hydrogen and helium. Period 2 is having the lithium, beryllium, boron, and period 3 is this one. And group 5, so we have the Roman numbers are written. This is Roman 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, and group 5. So period 3 and group 5. So this is group 5 and period 3, it matches with phosphorus. So the element here is phosphorus. Because the first, there are 7 periods. This is the first, second, third. This will be the fourth period, fifth period, sixth period, and seventh period. And the groups are there, the 8 groups are there, and the transition element are between the group 2 and group 3. Not in a specific group, the transition element, as they have variable oxidation numbers. Identify element Z. So identify element Z, that is phosphorus. Explain in terms of electron transfer why Z behaves chemically as a non-metal. What is the characteristic of a non-metal? In terms of chemical reaction, if it is a metal, what is the characteristic of the metal? Metal tend to lose electron. And what is the characteristic of a non-metal? The non-metal have a tendency to gain electron. So how you will score the 2 marks? 1 mark, it will gain electron, that will 1 mark. And the second mark, which ion it will form after gaining that electron. But we have to explain in terms of electron transfer, not in terms of oxide. You can mention it will form acidic oxide, but because the question itself says that explain in terms of electron, so it gains electron, that is 1 mark, and the second mark, it will form a negative ion or an anion. Phosphorus, because it belongs to group 5, it will form a charge of a -3, not -1. So only forming a negative ion, that's enough. Forming an ion, gain 3 electron or gain electron. Page number 13, magnesium is a metal. A 4-mark question. This question, they repeat about the structure of the metal. Describe the bonding in the magnesium. What kind of bonding within the metal? What type of bonding is there between? You can annotate on the screen. You can use chat. So it will have a metallic bonding. METALLIC, metallic. Description of the metallic bond. What is actually a metallic bond? So metallic bond is actually the electrostatic attraction between the lattice of a positive ion and the delocalized electrons. So you will mention the electrostatic attraction between the lattice of positive ions and the free electrons. and a C of a delocalized electron. That's also right. The magnesium and magnesium oxide, which is MgO, is formed when magnesium burns in oxygen. First thing, you have to complete all the shells. So when you talk about the magnesium atom will have 2, 8, and 2. This is a structure of magnesium atom. What about oxygen? The configuration of oxygen is 2 and 6. So when magnesium will react, magnesium will lose all of its electron. So when you draw the 3 shells for the magnesium, first shell is already drawn. You have to draw the second and the third. The second shell, it will have 8 electrons. And the third shell, it will have 2 electrons. But these 2 electrons being transferred, so you don't have to show this, you don't have to draw the arrows or show this that electron is being transferred. And if the last shell, because it is empty, so if you don't draw, that's also fine. So magnesium ion, which is losing 2 electron, will have a configuration of 2, 8. Where oxygen oxide ion, because it take 2 electrons, so it will become 2, 8. So 6 electrons belong to oxygen and 2 it took from magnesium. So 6 should be crosses, means belongs to oxygen, and 2 from the magnesium, that circles or dots are there. And the charge, because magnesium is losing 2 electrons, so magnesium will be +2 and oxygen will be -2. Write a chemical equation for the reaction that occur between magnesium burned and oxygen. So magnesium, because it's a metal, metal can exist as an atom. React with oxygen. Oxygen is a non-metal, so it should be a molecule and it will form a magnesium oxide. What will the formula of magnesium oxide? Magnesium is +2 and oxygen is -2. So magnesium oxide will be MgO. But because the magnesium, you have to balance the equation. You have to balance the equation, so it will form MgO. So 2 oxygen are there, so we balance, oxygen is balanced, then 2 magnesium, so we put 2. Magnesium is also balanced. So this is a balance equation for reaction between magnesium and oxygen. The next, magnesium oxide also forms when a magnesium nitrate is heated strongly. What is the thermal decomposition of a metal nitrates? When we heat a metal nitrate, it will form magnesium oxide plus nit. When metal nitrate like potassium and sodium are heated, it will give nitrite and oxygen. But for other oxides, when we heat, it will form metal oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. So it will be MgNO3. This is called a thermal decomposition, the type of reaction. It will form a metal oxide, MgO, plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen O2. We have to balance this is the equation. We have to balance this equation. So 3 multiplied by 2, 6. So if we try to balance example, we put 2. So oxygen is balanced. But now if we try to balance other element like magnesium 2, so magnesium is balanced, but now oxygen is not balanced. And nitrogen is how much? This is 2 multiplied by 2 makes 4. So we want to make 4 nitrogen. So it will be 4 NO2. So 2 plus 8, 10, and 10 plus 2 makes 12. And 3 multiplied by 2, 6, multiplied by 2 makes 12. So this is a balance equation for a thermal decomposition of magnesium nitrate, which gives magnesium oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. What type of reaction is this? This is called a thermal decomposition. Then 2 other compounds, that forms a magnesium oxide when heated. So if we heat magnesium carbonate, if magnesium carbonate is heated, it will give a magnesium oxide plus carbon dioxide. And if we heat magnesium hydroxide, that will also result in a formation of a magnesium oxide plus water. So both of these compounds give magnesium oxide. So metal nitrates, metal hydroxide, and the carbonates decomposition. The table I have already shared with you, go through that. This question is about the structure of atom and ions. Define the proton number. A standard definition. What is the meaning of a proton number? A proton number is a number of protons inside the nucleus. 1 mark is for mentioning number of protons and 1 mark is for mentioning inside the nucleus. The next, you have to complete number of proton because this is a proton number, so both are 12 proton. Neutron, you have to subtract 24 minus 12, and for 26 minus 12. And electron, because it's an atom, so it will have the same number of electron as protons. What term is used to describe atoms of the same elements? So we call them as isotopes. Why isotopes have the same chemical properties? 2 marks. So why they have the same chemical properties? The chemical properties depends on the number of electron in the last shell. So the reason why they have the same chemical properties, because they have same outer shell electron. 1 mark is for mentioning electrons and 1 mark is for mentioning outer shell. So they have the same number of electrons in the last shell or valence shell or outer shell. That will score the mark. This table, the first one is done. The second one, proton number 4. Which element in the periodic table having a proton number 4? Beryllium. Then what about the proton number? So it will be 4 and 4 plus 5 makes 11. And it will be neutral because it has equal number of proton and electrons. Which element has a proton number 17? Chlorine, good. And chlorine is 17. And when we write, it has 17 protons, but 18 electrons are there, so there should be a charge -1. And what should be the nucleon number? The nucleon number is a sum of proton and neutron. So 20 plus 17 will make 37. State the electronic structure of the following atoms and ions. Aluminium is 13, so it will be 2, 8, and 3. But sulfur is 16 and 32. But this is a sulfide ion, means it has 2 extra electrons, so it has 18 electrons. So configuration will be 2, 8, 8. As we have total 18 electrons are there. Then what is meant by the term isotope? Isotope will have the same proton, sorry, and they will have different neutrons. How many neutrons are there in a sulfide? How many neutrons? So 34 minus 16, that is 18. How is sulfide ion formed from sulfur atom? We have a sulfur atom. How sulfide ion is formed? By gaining 2 electrons, good. So it gained 2 electrons. Then which element forms an ion with a +2 charge with the same number of electron as sulfide? So the sulfide is 18. Like sulfide ion is having 18 electrons. Which ion is having 18 electrons? Yeah, calcium will +2 will have 18 electrons. Next one. So because calcium atom, the configuration of a calcium atom is 2, 8, 8, and 2, which is 20. When it loses 2 electrons, it will be 2, 8, and 8. So it will become calcium plus 2. So calcium ion will have the charge of a plus 2, and it will have the same number of electron as sulfide ion. And when two ions have the same number of electron, what we use the term, we call them as isoelectronic. So iso means same, and electronic here refers to number of electron. Like isotopes means they have same number of the proton, different neutron, where isoelectronic means they have the same number of electrons. Why the sulfur form a charge with a how a sulfide ion is formed from sulfur atom? By gaining 2 electrons. And how many neutrons are there? This will be 18. And the sulfur, which is minus 2, is having 18 electrons. And another ion which is having 18 electrons, it's calcium, which is 288. If they ask the same question was there, which is having a plus 1 charge, if this was the same question and they say which ion is having a plus 1 charge and it's same as a sulfide ion, so in that case we'll write potassium, because potassium atom is 2881, but potassium ion is 2, 8, and 8. And if there was an about plus 3 charge, in that case we'll write about the group 3 element. Is it clear, this one?